Welcome to Books That Matter. I'm your host, Leroy Baylor, and today's guest is one of the most influential and most creative, and I would say one of the most brilliant musicians and individuals that you could possibly meet. His book is Still Grazing, and it's Hugh Masekela out of South Africa. It's a book that you must get if you want to know the journey of a brilliant musician. Hugh Masekela, thank you very much for joining us on Books That Matter, and most of all, congratulations on your new book, Still Grazing. At what point in time did the conception for this book develop?
I think it developed in the 70s, because in the mid-70s, I'd sort of already done a lot of things, and friends were beginning to say, Quincy, especially, Quincy Troop kept saying, man, you got to write a book, because I was telling him all these stories about how I grew up in South Africa and many other things. And he'd tell me stories about St. Louis, and, we're trading stories. And he said, man, you should write, because he had seen some of my writing on the back of my albums, so I did my own
the liner notes.
Liner notes, yeah. And then I would write. I think I started very energetically. Then my focus went away. And then in the 80s, when I was living in England, I started another set again. And again, circumstances in my life and dysfunctional relationships, but especially dependency on mind-altering substances and alcohol really cut into my concentration and focus. And it wasn't until I went for recovery, in a rehabilitation joint, and also learned the psychology of addiction, and applied myself to learning about counseling and intervention. That when I came back from there, I started a foundation with some friends in South Africa to help people like myself. And then I met Michael Cheers, who was then editor of, I had met him before I went for recovery. He was editor and managing director of Ebony South Africa. And he was bugging me and kept saying, I had all these things that I wrote before. I kept saying, take these, man, write from this. And then he was interviewing me like this. But we're not really getting there. And then when I came back, I started to talk to him more creatively. I mean, more focusedly.
Yes.
And then we finally made a publishing deal with Random House. And from the tapes and what he was writing, Chris Jackson, the editor, said, I'd really like to hear how this sounds in Hugh's voice. Let him write. And once I started writing, we were on a roll. And for 5 years, we just kept going with Chris's help and Michael's help. And I think after about 3,000 pages, we finally had a book, and it was condensed to this. Chris Jackson is a wonderful editor, wonderful editor, and also very provocative. Kept why don't you do this? You're lying here. How about why are you falling in love so much? Why are you drinking so much? Why are you hanging out? And they kept, give me more, give me more, give me more. And sometimes I'd call him and I'd say, Chris, I don't have any more. He said, give me more, I know you got more.